The Paratus Intervention, Chapter 3. "Hey, Larry." Marco's voice came through a vent in the glass between them. "Hey, Marco," Larry returned. "How are you doing?" "Not very good if you're in here." "I meant otherwise," Larry attempted to redirect. "Everyone treating you okay?"
"As far as I'm aware."
Marco sighed, a gleam in his eye.
"What's wrong?"
"You're dreaming about it again," Larry answered, tapping on and swiping across the touchscreen of his digital clipboard.
"But I'm not allowed to know what it is."
"No, you're not," Larry reminded him, very literally. "That is what intervention does. It disallows your knowing, remember?"
"Oh, yeah, of course."
"Even if I told you, you wouldn't hear me. The device would intervene upon the thought, between the sound of my voice vibrating in your ears and the conscious thought registering it as words in your mind. You'd hear something like a hum or the rustling of leaves. You'd even see my mouth move, but it would slightly appear blurry in a just missed it sort of way that prevents you from reading my lips."
"We've been doing this a long time, Larry. It must be pretty bad that you keep coming and I keep agreeing to this. I can only barely remember, but I remember that much."
"Much of those memories were intervened because they are connected to an awareness of your behavior. You are definitely incarcerated against your will, but eagerly agreed to this treatment each time."
"But it's not working?"
"Well," Larry considered, "it's working right now. It just doesn't seem to hold up over time. Coming undone, as we speak."
"Is Dr. Caro around?"
Larry was immediately drawn to his digital clipboard and delayed in reply. "Why do you ask?"
"I don't know," Marco admitted. "I just thought about her."
"Women seem to exacerbate the deterioration of your intervention."
"Oh, right, I knew that."
"Marco?" Larry's voice made it a question.
"Yeah?"
"You're not supposed to know that. You're thinking about it right now, aren't you?" Twin tears ran down Marco's face as he sniffled and answered,
"Yes."
Larry flipped the digital clipboard around to show Marco two images from his personal thought catalog, explaining. "On the right is your basic thought about cannibalism from 2 months ago. On the left is what it looks like at the moment your intervention failed, 30 seconds ago. Typically, intervention can retrain the patient not to think certain thoughts, permanently, or at least as close to permanent as we've seen. Yet there are some few who require ongoing intervention indefinitely. Other than certain long-term narcotics addicts, this is around 1% of all recipients of intervention. Of them, Marco, you are my only known case of thought maps changing over time to defeat the ongoing intervention. And now you're going to ask me to kill you." Marco's tears were streaming then as he whispered,
"Please."
"We've done this before," Larry reminded. "Each time, I've told you how your mind is the only source of new data we've had in this field for years. That if this is a resistance to intervention that might develop in others, continued recording of your mind will potentially help hundreds of millions of people over time."
"You can make the thoughts go away again?" I'm aroused, damn it. This is... what's wrong with me? I hate myself, but I can't stop. I can't stop thinking about it."
Marco was dismayed, dropping again to a whisper.
"How you might taste in my mouth."
"I can and I will," Larry offered calmly, placing his palm against the glass. "And although you won't remember, you're the only person I've said this to. And I say it again with no reservation. It's not your fault. Not at this point. You've done more than any human in history to fix yourself. You're still doing it. The failure here is in our collective inability. But I'm not giving up on you or others like you that will someday benefit from our work here. But I need your permission. Larry left his hand on the glass as Marco trembled, his eyelids squeezing, biting themselves closed. The silence was full of everything Marco was thinking, but not saying, and Larry watched it as data rolling across the monitoring emulation still displayed on the screen of his idle device, laying on the short table, divided by the glass. Until at last Marco placed his palm to match Larry's own, and feeling the warmth through the glass, opened his eyes. Make it go away, Larry. Now, that or give a... Marco's voice raised and lowered, pleading, then resigned. Fix me. Whatever it takes, fix me or kill me. I can only promise that I will continue to try. All right. All right. Vance clicked off the display, and the recording ended. He tossed the device onto a shelf next to the desk and leaned back, looking at Larry, as he too resettled in his own chair. How long ago was this? Vance asked. That video is about 2 years old, Larry answered. But it's not been that long since I've seen him. Just after the NICED project started, last year, I handed the case off to one of the first intervention technicians, Dr. Gabrielle Townsend. Gary was formerly a psychologist on Professor Nicoti's original brain mapping team, and a friend, as far as I have any anyway. He was not just the natural choice, he was the only choice, and Vance put a hand up and interrupted. Larry, I'm not questioning your judgment yet. Are you? Maybe, Larry admitted. Anyway, I saw Marco when I introduced him to Gary and handed the case off to him. But I had the contract drawn up, so I could still follow without breaching confidentiality. They had a tune-up every 2 or 3 months, as I would have expected, until almost 4 months ago. I didn't think much about it initially. 3 months come and gone, and I was too busy here to even notice or remember. Then I did. Gary hadn't updated his research notes on the case for over a month, which in itself is fine, I guess, but it didn't set right with me. So I checked, and he'd never gone more than a week without having something to note about the data coming in. That's when I called the institution, and they told me that Marco had escaped. Except your Dr. Gabriel Townsend's missing too, Vance concluded, and you don't think it was an escape. I haven't been able to contact Gary, but I don't know that he is missing. You didn't think I needed to know about any of this until now? No, Larry said without indignation. I'm following and consulting on 19 clients that have nothing to do with the NICED project. You want all their files? Only the really unusual ones, Vance mocked. I'm guessing there are like 18 rich kids getting their bad habits twiddled away one at a time, but only one psychopathological cannibal who can't be completely intervened. Yeah, Larry sighed. Did this Dr. Townsend know anything about this project? No, Larry spoke up. Of course not. You would have known all about that, if he did. I've not broken the non-disclosure, and if I had thought someone had, I'd report it to you. As you know, I have done already. Yeah, Vance groaned with a weariness that he seemed comfortable in. You're the boss. I just had to ask. Due diligence. The detective's curse. Missing the thing right in front of you. Try to do my part to ward it off. Right, Larry agreed, nodding for emphasis. So now what? Might he have known without you telling him? A leak we missed? If anyone would, Larry considered aloud, if word got out discreetly, it would be into the academic circles, the higher echelons, those well-connected within the field. Well, let's follow that, Vance began. Since most of our consultants, aside from Dr. Lonting and a couple others, were intentionally new to the field, and we can cross ourselves off, that leaves us a short list of potentials, primarily consisting of the Paratus group intervention technicians assigned to this project. Who do you hate? What? Vance laughed and straightened in his chair. Who do you hate? Among the technicians? Yeah. I don't really... Don't bullshit me, Larry, Vance interrupted and continued. It's a competitive career here on the elite end. There are always rivalries in a field and at a company. They're all company men, long time, most of them longer than you. Somebody's rubbed you the wrong way twice. It only bothered you because you knew he was good at the job. You didn't want to bring him over to this, but you did it anyway, to prove it to yourself, that you're above all that petty crap. Don't deny it. It's life. We're all human, for now. We don't need a witch hunt, Larry avoided. No, Vance agreed. But we've got to go through the whole list, and we've got to start somewhere. So you start with who you don't like? Assuming I don't like him for a reason, Vance chuckled, admitting, yeah. It beats taping the list to the wall and throwing darts at it. Vance, if I didn't know you, I'd be really concerned about your methods right now. You don't just know me, Vance insisted. You know that I know what I'm doing. You know that I'm effective. Whatever my methods, they work. You know I'm right about this. So cough up a name. Who do you hate? There are two of them, actually. Wahoo! Vance laughed. I knew it. We can pick between them two randomly. You don't have to rate them in order of hatred or anything.